7 reasons I like Nvidia stock and will be looking to buy dips if there are any in the coming weeks, months, and potentially even years. Let's jump right into it. The first reason I like Nvidia is the price momentum that we have recently seen when just looking at stock price. Now, price action is something that I do weigh heavily into when it comes to making a decision as to which stocks I like or dislike, and I want to show you what I'm seeing right now on Nvidia's technical chart. So if we take a look at the daily chart for Nvidia, you can see that for the last few years, we've been relatively sideways, and the hype around this stock has cooled significantly from back over here where it was like every single day, everybody I knew was talking about Nvidia. We've really calmed that storm. And in some ways, this is kind of what many traders or investors would call correcting sideways, just going sideways for some time and letting the valuation of the company actually continue to come down as revenues and earnings grow. More on that later. But I really like the fact that we are now pressing back up against this previous all-time high. We're very close. In fact, at the time of recording this, we're just about 7 or 8%, which, if you know Nvidia and its volatility, is not that far away for this stock. I want to show you the weekly chart, and I want to show you the momentum that we're working with here. So you can see for the first time in quite some time, we do have prices making a steep recovery from this area that acted beautifully. When we talk about the $95 level for Nvidia, that was a topping point here temporarily. We then broke out of that area and found support not once, but a second time here recently in the April sell-off, where buyers came in very aggressively and are now pushing this thing north back towards its previous all-time high. In my personal opinion, as I'll discuss more about why, I do think that this is likely to break out to new highs in 2025. In fact, I think once we get to the other side of all the tariff trauma and stuff like that, I think it's not insane to think that Nvidia could actually be a $200 stock in the making. It just may take some time to get there. The second reason I really like the idea of buying Nvidia on dips is that it is the clear and present AI leader. When it comes to the stock market revelation that we've had in the last few years around AI, since the 2022 bottoming out, we saw 2023, this new paradigm, this new idea that AI was going to boost efficiency. And what has happened since then has been we've seen more and more evidence that AI is not just a phase, that is not just some sort of kind of temporary thing. I don't know about you, but in my own office, you know, where I work and film these videos, there's a plethora of AI being used every single day by our video editors, by our sales team, by our marketing, everybody is using AI that I know. And so the efficiency that AI is producing for the global workforce is not something that I see going away. I think once we've gotten a taste of AI, I see no reason why this will slow down significantly or become obsolete anytime soon. And so who is at the centerpiece of all of that? Nvidia. Nvidia produces the chips that powerhouse all of this AI stuff. Now you might say in the future, what about other companies coming up? Well, yes, but Nvidia is so far ahead and is so competitive and so innovative with their leadership, with their CEO, Jensen Huang, right? They're so far ahead, they're so on the ball, and they're beating out all competitors by a long shot and providing for all these large language models, OpenAI, and all these different things that ChatGPT, all these Groks and AI things are powered by Nvidia chips. The third point is that this is the crown jewel, and it is bipartisanly loved by both Republicans and Democrats. And this is important because when I say crown jewel, everyone in the United States, because when I say crown jewel, what I'm talking about is that it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Bipartisan agreement is pretty strong that leading and winning the AI race, not just with ourselves here in the United States, but globally with global competitors, is very, very important. And who is going to help win that race? Nvidia. So Nvidia has favoritism from leadership in the United States. So they get bipartisan love. And this is very important because unlike other companies that might, be more susceptible to Republican leadership or a Democrat leadership, what's so great about Nvidia is everyone is mostly in agreement. We need to win this AI race. It's kind of like the modern day space race where people on both sides of the aisle kind of come together and say, we need to win this. We need to beat out China and Russia and all these other places that could take leadership in this if we're not careful. And so to me, that is a tailwind to this stock in the coming years. The next one is reasonable valuations versus history. Let me show you this. What you're looking at now is the price to earnings ratio for Nvidia over time using A1 Trading's stock box. This is a tool that we've built to help traders and investors who watch stocks better understand what they're looking at on the financials data side and the sentiment data side. If you'd like to try out the tool, by the way, there's a link in the description down below. Okay, so the price to earnings ratio for Nvidia. What I want to show you here is that the red line here, or the pink line, is the price of Nvidia over time. And you can see that Nvidia while the price of the stock has actually gone up, there was an impressive kind of thing that happened as their earnings kept coming in so strong, so impressive, that despite the price of the stock going up, their earnings outpaced it, causing the price to earnings ratio to actually go down. And so what I want to show you here is that Nvidia is still an expensive stock, but in terms of its forward PE, in terms of its expectations relative to its own history, which is a very impressive one when it comes to earnings growth, this stock to me is looking cheaper than usual, simply as the price of the stock, even though the stock has gone up in price, the earnings have outpaced it. Let me show you some more information. If I go to our income statement here and I select really quick for, let's just type in Nvidia, right? We can take a look, and what we can see here is that the revenue, look at this beast of an absolute monster of a product, right? Now they did take a little bit of a hit. You might ask, why was this? Well, they attested this little chunk here due to all of the tariff uncertainty and some of the bans and things like that between the United States and China. So they did take a slight hit. However, just look at this revenue growth. This is one of the picture perfect charts that you can imagine in terms of Nvidia, revenue growth. We can also see net income for this company has grown very, very consistently at a rapid pace, and you can see why this company is such a monster in terms of producing more and more value for shareholders over time. So to me, this is a really simple concept. I like to buy stocks that have charts in terms of an income statement that look like this. It's very obvious to me that this number is rising dramatically, and it would take something big for that to unrail or become obsolete. Now, of course, anything can happen and stocks can lose their kind of shining, glory status like this, of course, but most of the time, great companies can do this for many, many, many years. Another thing I really like about Nvidia is that it just reclaimed once again the world's most valuable company as the $1 trillion rally that we've recently seen continues. So it took back its #1 spot. I believe it was Microsoft that had it just prior. And we've seen this race here recently between valuations, but Nvidia massively caught up to the other ones in the last few years. And to me, that momentum is likely to continue. I wouldn't be surprised if in the coming years, Nvidia is by far the most valuable company on the planet, as this company, like I said, is a centerpiece to the AI race that so many major companies all around the world are tossing money into. Who's the beneficiary in all that? Nvidia, who sells them the picks and shovels, if you will, or the chips. And finally, I want to talk about the outrageous customer demand that this company has. It is incredible how much companies around the world cannot get their hands on chips fast enough from Nvidia. They actually have a supply issue way more than a demand one. And what I mean by that is they have so much demand for their chips. They have so much demand from their major customers, companies like Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Alphabet, and so many others, like countless other companies that are lined up at the door to buy Nvidia chips. The issue they have is actually being able to manufacture these chips at a rapid enough pace to fill that massive demand. That's a great problem to have as a company. It would be much better to have too many customers than you can possibly handle and to figure out how to build more stuff so you can sell more stuff than the other way around, having a bunch of supply and not being able to sell it. To me, Nvidia has demand for years to come. They have a very loyal and strong customer base that is a sticky product, right? They're not just a chips company. They also have software that makes their tools so powerful for their customers and allowing companies, for example, like Meta, who is one of my favorite stocks also, and another one that I own, to become so profitable. This is a company that is using AI today to leverage and make significant amounts of money from the things that they're buying. You know how doom scrolling is so addictive on Instagram and on Facebook and all these sites, right? Well, part of the reason is because they're leveraging AI to make their platform so much more entertaining. And so that to me is a very key component to this. All of this, AI stuff is like, where is the return on investment? Well, companies, especially the large ones that are able to really leverage this data efficiency and this more intelligent, software within their ecosystem, the ones that are leveraging it are making bank on it very quickly. And of course, there are other components too, like for example, making employees more efficient, potentially not hiring as many roles for certain things. That I know is a little bit of a grim subject, but it is a reality when it comes to AIs. A lot of it can be used to reduce headcount in areas that may not necessarily be as needed for a company, which is straight up cost savings and makes stock prices go up. It's a little bit of a weird concept, but that is the reality. Is more efficiency in terms of your workforce is a very quick way for a lot of these companies to significantly boost their profitability. So these companies are seeing benefits from the AI stuff. Now, again, it's a long-term investment, but these companies, Microsoft, Meta, right? These companies have no signs in their earnings reports and in their press conferences, right? There's clear demand from them to continue to invest heavily in becoming the leaders of AI. And so how are they going to do that? They're going to buy Nvidia chips and they're going to have the latest, greatest stuff to stay ahead of competitors. And if you don't, and you fall behind, that is a significant risk. In fact, the Microsoft CEO actually indicated that he thinks it's a bigger risk to underinvest in AI than to overinvest in AI, which is a really important concept from such a powerful CEO, which makes up a huge chunk of Nvidia earnings. So in terms of actions, where am I looking to buy Nvidia? Well, I have this momentum indicator on my screen. It's the A1 momentum indicator available on our website, a1trading.com. If we do get pullbacks into these areas, I am looking to add shares to my existing position. Currently, I'd be interested around 120 to 115, somewhere in this range. I'd be very happy to potentially pick up some more shares. I do own a good bit of shares, somewhere in the neighborhood around 108 per share, something in that neighborhood. And if we do start to break through these all-time highs, what I'd probably do is if we get a little bit too melt-uppy, I'll probably look to sell some covered calls against my position. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and let me know down below in the comments what stock you'd like me to do next. Thanks for watching.